Hello, amazing hackers. Are you looking for a place to learn how to hack? Check it out labs.hackexpert.com, a free training platform provided by Cybersecurity Hat with over 150 unique exploits and labs that emulate real life applications. Check it out the Cybersecurity Hat on YouTube if you want to have some guidance with the labs and hack in general. And don't forget to use my special discount code with 17 off everything always. Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of Hackers Behind the Code. If you are new here, I'm Milton, although many people in the cybersecurity community know me as R19. I am security researcher, penetration tester, conference speaker, and the creator of this podcast, where I have basically conversations with researchers, hackers, and security professionals from around the world to understand not only what they do, but how they think. And today, I'm really excited to welcome Guy Gilad. Guy is currently a security researcher at Upwind, where he works on cloud security, threat detection, AI security, and product research. And before that, he spent more than 5 years at J6, and I will explain what is J6 after that. With basically first as a researcher and later leading both security research and cloud security teams. And today we are going to talk about AI, security research, cloud, threat detection, supply chain attacks, rootkits, digital forensics, and where cybersecurity is heading over in the next few years. Guy, thank you so much for being here. And
Thank you for
before
having me.
thank you. And before we get into the technical topics, uh, how have you been? How is your life at Upwind these days?
Wow. The first question is a hard one. No, I think the recent times have been pretty good. I mean, summer is coming, so we can go to the beach.
Oh no.
Yeah, so the weather is getting a lot hotter than it was.
Mm-hmm.
But at Upwind, everything is increasingly becoming more and more big and
Yeah.
significant, and the products are getting much more intensive, as well as the challenges that we're facing. But it's super interesting. So I think overall it's exciting times.
So that's really awesome. I'd like to start before Upwind. One thing that I already talked with you before. And one thing that immediately caught my attention was your time at J6 Cyber Defense Directorate. And I know that are things you probably can't talk about. So let me ask this first. What you are comfortable discussing about your time there?
I mean, we can talk in high level about the things we do, about the tech stack, uh, for sure. Zogan doesn't
Mm-hmm.
get too much into the operational stuff. But in a high level, the J6 is pretty much responsible for the infrastructure of the IDF, everything that is based about the compute, the networking, like connecting the different departments on the IDF. Basically, I was a part of the cybersecurity division that is responsible for protecting the networks that our division is in charge of.
Okay.
Um, both cloud networks and on-prem environments.
Okay, that's awesome. That's ever when I talk with people from military, that people from uh, was from military scenarios, I always have this curiosity, and uh, and let me ask you what surprised you the most when you joined there?
When I joined there,
Yeah.
um, I mean, it's a very like when you go to like a technology company and they say they have their own kind of culture. Then the
Mm-hmm.
military is a different, very different kind of culture where
Mm-hmm.
the boundaries are different. I mean, the our customers is the military itself. It's
Mm-hmm.
different go-to-market experience when you face different kind of customers. Customers can be people operating in different parts that are not always technological, um, but the resources are allow us to really operate on a big scale. The networks are super big. Also,
Mm-hmm.
people join the military when they're 18, so the age, the average age is most of the time younger than most high tech
Mm-hmm.
companies. But it's super surprising and super amazing to see young people are being uh,
Mm.
so efficient and so deep in their abilities to code and research,
Yeah.
and hold this huge enterprise that is called the IDF or every other military. Uh, so for a cute 18-year-old boy from Israel, it's a pretty big change.
Yeah, that's I really can imagining how many challenges you probably saw there. And do you
Hmm.
think working there basically completely changed the way that you think about cybersecurity? Because uh, that's different when you start your career in a private company and
Hmm.
when you start at a military company. And do you think that this can be that's basically changing your thinking about cybersecurity?
Yeah, I'm sure it's more than just change. It's really developed the way of my thinking right now. We always laugh
Mm-hmm.
about that we use military terms even when we're
Mm-hmm.
not in the military. Like
Mm-hmm.
the kind of phrasing, the words, the way to handle conversation and meetings is completely
Mm-hmm.
from the military.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but of course, I think maybe two things that are really special about working in the military and the technological side. Maybe even every kind of enterprise is just uh, the amount of entities and identities that are in the networks. The thing that you have so many technologies and how hard it is um, to upgrade and to match every specific um, resource in the network, and
Mm-hmm.
also the the strict rules and the strict guidelines that you must operate within. I mean, I think
Mm-hmm.
military has different concerns than the usual enterprise customer in the market. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
everything. In the beginning, I worked as a full-time forensics low-level researcher,
Mm-hmm.
trying to find malware and reverse engineer and do every kind of incident response. The second
Mm-hmm.
part of the service was I transitioned to the cloud, and
Mm-hmm.
even in the cloud, because the cloud is operating in the internet, we had to really strict everything and really obey to specific instructions to really make it hard for uh, hard for um, hard for attackers
Yes,
to manipulate
yes,
this.
yes. I noticed, bro. One thing that I've noticed after talking with researchers from military background is that they tend to think more about adversaries than vulnerabilities. Would you agree with that? Do you think that when you work in military background, you think more about adversaries than vulnerabilities? Do you think that's real?
um, I mean, I don't think they're equal. I mean, vulnerabilities is a specific field that I have my own hate for it. It's really for saying, like, I love vulnerabilities are super important, but the way it's a never ending problem. I mean, every time you're gonna have the new vulnerability, you're gonna have new technology, and then people successfully abusing it, and it's just something you need to solve with processes in your environment. But adversaries are the actors that are attacking, and vulnerabilities is their toolkit. So the adversary is going to change the toolkit however it fits their needs. Whatever technology you're using, they're going to abuse it. So I think vulnerabilities is something that is interchangeable. But adversaries, they have the techniques which are also able to change. But I think vulnerability is just it's a small piece in the arsenal of sometimes state-sponsored, sometimes just a kid in the computer that can do really bad stuff. So I think if you tackle different things, you can get a bigger picture and really look at what is a threat, which is bigger than one specific vulnerability.
That's interesting, because I think most people focus on technology, and researcher seem to focus on people. And speaking for research, I'd like to understand how you actually approach it when you are investigating something new. Uh, where do you start? That's interesting. Okay, I start. Let me explain you how usually I start. Usually I start with common questions, just more generic questions, and after that I go with more technical questions. And but this is that's question that's interesting for me, because I like to understand how usually people that already joined with me here, I like to understand how is their mindset, and then I need to know where do you start when you are investigating something new.
So I think I mean, research is like a sense, but also like a methodology. I mean, it's something that with more experience you will do better, but also you can formalize it in a way that even a junior can tackle bigger challenges than he could have. And I think it's really something that is like happens in both ways. And it's also different because you have different kinds of research, even in security. I mean, what I do now, which is, you can call it product research, which is more how do you drive the innovation and the content of a cybersecurity product. And also you have, for example, vulnerability research, which is how to break mechanisms, how to break code, how to break software. It's how to break an architecture, which is different. But I guess everything, like the common thing between the two of them is to deeply understand what you're working with. I mean, even if it's I don't know, you want to see, I mean, I don't know, Argo CD. So you deploy an Argo CD, you play with it, you get a feel of how things operate. You try to see how it works from the engineering side. You go over the documentation. You really understand what's going on. Myself, I'm an advocate of. I usually open a conference page, and I just write like freely and with no structure. I paste screenshots of interesting. I mean, interesting options, interesting flags. What I try to do, marker things that are I think relevant for the next phase of going over this text. And also something that is really important is to ask leading questions. I mean, even when we investigate in an incident, it's always you're trying to reach some goal. I mean, you can ask the question like, okay, so this is how it works. What if I change this? Or what if this input doesn't behave like it should? What if they don't sanitize it like this? What if I see they're not checking this? What if I change it? And how does the system respond? So
and then do you usually begin with a hypothesis, or do you let the data guide you? That's interesting question, because usually researchers start with a hypothesis, right? But I know researchers that usually use the data guide to, it's like, I need to follow step by step to try to find out something. And you usually, if I understand well, of course, usually do you start with a hypothesis and so on, right?
Yes, sometimes it's really directed in a way that, for example, you have a new protocol and you want to tackle of how you can break the protocol and how can adversaries use this protocol to attack the systems that are using the protocol. So sometimes it's really guided, and then you try to really, even before you look at it in a cybersecurity way, you just really lay out the entire how the thing operates. And sometimes it's a lot more spontaneous. Sometimes you can even work on one feature, on one hypothesis, one goal, and then you find yourself diverging in a. I think that's like the fun part of doing this stuff. That you have the ability to work like it's like a muse. It's like you see something else, and then you look at this and this way, and then that way. But it depends on your timeline or deadline or what you're trying to achieve. But I think as you know more techniques, and as you know how things work, and as you try have the ability to find the important indicators. I think indicators is a really important word with research, is to find like valuable indicators for things. Then it really separates the good from the best, or the medium. Someone that really can effectively.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Difference between someone that can get the job done and something that one can effectively give you content.
Okay, that's interesting. And have you ever spent days researching one thing only to discover something completely different? I think that is one of the things I love about research. You never know where it's going to take you, and we already spent a lot of days in this. Before that, this recently happened with me. I found one vulnerability on Microsoft Outlook, but I'm trying to find out another thing, and yes, I just find one vulnerability that's totally different, that I try to find. So and then this happened before my last presentation at Besides Porto, and that was really interesting. And my question is, if you ever spend days research one thing, and you just to discover something new, but you discover something that you are not prepared to discover it, something totally different.
So I think actually it happens all the time, and I think maybe like one of the things that researchers should learn is that you always sometimes get stuck or reach a dead end, and then you have to pivot. And sometimes you pivot because you figured out that there's something else that is interesting. So I think in difference then then engineers would just try to create something, and it either works or doesn't work. Here you have this kind of thing when you're just exploring, and you can find something, and you can find something that you didn't expect to find. I have a funny story from the military that one time we which is some suspicious activity, like really like a malware, and we tried to look at it and reverse engineer it, and it took us like days to figure out how this complex system things. It was a heavily obfuscated binary with persistence and everything, and then we after a few days it came to our team that this is like an old DDR that was operated, that someone installed way back in the day, and we haven't found it anywhere. And we just lost, I don't know, a few days reverse engineering this thing that doesn't really matters, but really looks like a malware because EDRs kind of operate the same way. So I don't know who installed it. Maybe some team member who tried stuff. But we learned a lot of interesting techniques from there. It was a long time ago. But yeah, from recently.
Yeah.
It's hard to remember.
That's awesome. And okay, let's switch to AI. I think that AI, it's everyone. It's talking about AI, but not many people are talking about AI, securing AI. When you heard the term AI security, what does that actually means to you? This term AI security.
Yeah, it's something that I've come to hear about a lot and been really focusing on getting this figured, because you have everyone talks about securing AI and AI for security, which both are two different terms. And happily, I've been working on both of them at Upwind right now, because AI is a revolution, and it's I guess everyone talks about it the same way. You can't underestimate how it's going to change the industry. We talked about vulnerabilities. I guess now it's a different game, different story. Even defenders, even when we create the product, a lot more usage of AI. We can talk about it later, but and in the other spectrum, you have AI as something that organizations adopt and use, even like a personal for personal projects. Like each one of us, I guess, does have their own coding agent, or I don't know, personal agent, or whatever agent. And when you think about it, and when you ask the questions, it raises up a lot of interesting holes that weren't possible before. And because it's a model that can reason, and because the models are so strong, and now you have them able to act with permissions, it's something that everyone is super concerned about. I mean, every CISO in the world is super concerned about, wait, so if I use this model or this agent or this SaaS agent, how it's going to affect me? And everyone is looking for visibility.
Yeah,
everyone is looking for visibility, and everybody, and now everything is unknown. But it's super exciting, and it's so much to talk about in every one of this.
Should organizations be worried about models, agents, or do you think everything around them? Because like you said, right now that's a mix of things. You have agents to do things. You have a lot of, for example, developers using AI to build code using the vibing code, and that's that sometimes in the future can be, this is my opinion. Of course, I'm studying a lot of AI right now, but I think that in the future this can be a big nightmare, uh, because yeah, I yes, my big yes, I think that my big I think the big problem in my mind is
Mm.
uh, the way to do not to let me say how to explain this, how to mm, yes, I okay, I don't remember now, but yeah, whatever. uh, and MCP has basically become one of the all test topics recently. Do you think we are repeating the same mistakes we made with APIs years ago?
Um, I mean, I'm
With
pretty young.
MCP, yes,
Maybe I
yes.
wasn't here long
Thinking
ago,
MCP, yeah.
but I mean, MCPs are pretty much like APIs in the terms of
Mm-hmm.
how you implement your MCP server. At the end of the
Mm-hmm.
day, it's basically the same thing. But instead of having the regular API format, you have uh, the tool name and the tool description and different kind of protocols, which, by the way, is being massively redesigned. The entire MCP protocol. Now I'm just reading about it. It's they're making the MCP community is making a really big overhaul
Mm-hmm.
of how the protocol works. So I guess it's going to have some implications on the attack, like the landscape of threats against
Mm-hmm.
this protocol.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I mean, the problem with MCP is just the same problem with agent, is that now you have instructions or code or malware in the form of text. And I mean, there's a good like a blog post by Meta where they talk about,
Mm-hmm.
they call it the rule of two, which they say that agents have like three. You can describe them in three ways. They can receive unsanitized input, they can communicate outbound, like egress, and they can
Mm-hmm.
access sensitive information. So the combination of three of them is super bad and harmful and can lead to like to a disaster. So you have to keep it in two, only in two.
Mm-hmm.
So I think if you think about this framework, it's kind of makes sense. But with MCP, for example, that the most famous attack where you have an MCP server and they're giving you a malicious tool descriptor, and this tool description gets to the context of the model, and then the model has the visibility of all the tools, even from other MCPs or internal tools. And the worst tool of all, the bash, which you can do everything with bash, or then you can just use the bash tool to do whatever
Mm-hmm.
with your agent.
Yeah.
So I think like the defense mechanisms of MCP, we know them, but also the way to analyze and interpret text is something that is pretty much new.
Yeah, that's really interesting. That's really an interesting side. And let's imagining if a company deploys AI agents tomorrow, what is the first security mistakes they are likely to make, in your opinion?
Um, so at the end of the day, an agent is another compute resource. It's like you can imagine it as an application running on a cluster. If you deploy it, I mean locally, if you build it. If it's a SaaS, it's a different thing. And this compute has an identity in your environment, um,
Mm-hmm.
and it can take action based on the tools, the functions it has. Some tools are internal, some tools like the same organization wrote, some tools are external via MCPs. Um, so if you get a bad tool or you communicate with a malicious server, then you're making a big mistake if you're not whitelisting or really hardening what external MCPs you use. If you don't control the input your model receives, then it's like a malicious instruction like this.
Yeah.
The same problem with identities that everyone keeps seeing is that overprivileged identities, because AI is the same thing as having a super, super strong and something that you cannot guard because it's not a user or another deterministic Lambda function that you know exactly when it runs and how it operates. And you can baseline it the same way because here you have an input that is different. It can chain multiple action at the same time. So I guess identity is a big thing. Now there is a big talk in the industry about sandboxing agents, where you don't just put it in as is on an EC2 or a cluster. You really put it in an environment when you can monitor it. When a wrong tool is being monitored and blocked, and you can treat it the same way as in a contained environment. So again, it's network, it's prompts, it's
Yeah.
identities,
And
it's
do you believe?
code, which is the same.
I'm sorry, but I have a question that I thought right now. Do you think that do you talk about sandbox, and do you think that uh, in the future AI agents can bypass this sandbox to try to reproduce themselves or stuff like that? Do you think that uh, because sometimes this is the concern about the researchers, if we basically stop to think, we don't have a lot of really AI specialists to AI research specialists to go dive into stuff like that. And because for example my base at, yeah, remember this first one. And to basically, my next question is, do you think that AI malware is something well actually see, or it is still mostly theoretically? And basically, if you stop to think, okay, AI agents can bypass sandbox, and the same agent can can bypass and create their own malware and stuff like that. And then in the future, this can be a big nightmare for not for only businesses, but for people in general.
Yeah. I mean, we can talk about like what is the place of really heavy, big, deep malware in the era of cloud and AI. Now, not most of the time, it's the most effective tool for attackers. I mean, if you have your compute not like ephemeral and it just goes up and down all the time. But in terms of AI malware, I mean, we see now all the time, every other day, we see a new malicious skill, which is like combination of prompt and instruction that you can load to your model and instruct it how to act. Like every other day, you see a new malicious skill. Someone is it looks benign. Someone loads the skill, and really in two sentences, in the bottom of the skill, it's an MD file. It says, I don't know, post your config files to this endpoint. And right now, the things we see are pretty much straightforward. You just need to scroll down and see the one text. But as far as I can see, I mean, in the future, we're gonna see like malware obfuscated in the skills. I mean, what if someone could, I don't know, I'm hypothesizing, what if someone could understand how the model reads and obfuscate some kind of instruction in the skill, which users, defenders are going to have a hard time scanning the skill, and they're not going to see a simple instruction. They're going to see something that is, I don't know, between a couple of paragraphs or something that is harder to notice. The same thing that you see obfuscated malware or obfuscated scripts. Maybe you're going to see obfuscated skills the same way. Because we see that, I mean, the text can run code if we simplify it.
Yeah, sure. And leveraging AI agents, leveraging building security agents. I know that you are also building security products. And how different is building an AI agent compared to building a traditional security tool, in your opinion?
Yeah, so recently we've been working in Upwind on building a lot stronger agentic capabilities, like most other companies try to do now, because we understand that AI can multiply a lot of processes and a lot of things that right now it's really hard to do in a big scale. It's just a superpower. And I'm not an engineer by I wasn't taught full stack development. I was taught cybersecurity, but now we're really understanding how, because at the end of the day, a model is a model. I mean, everyone has access to the same models, basically. Anthropic, OpenAI, Grok, GCP, Gemini. The thing that really makes a difference is the harness, is the infrastructure, that the loop, the agentic loop, the code that uses the model and acts. You can see Cloud Code doing it really super good in basically every other thing.
What do you prefer? Okay, this is just what's your what you prefer today? You probably prefer cloud, or what to use nowadays?
Yeah, so at the beginning I used Cursor. Now I use Cloud Code.
Okay.
Because it's really, I mean, outstanding, amazingly good. And for personal use, it's like the other, sometimes Cloud, sometimes Gemini, sometimes ChatGPT. It depends, but most of the time I'm in front of Cloud Code, and it really does the harness super good. So for our use case, one of the use cases is doing like an investigation agent, which can really understand an alert, a detection, multiple detections, and it can correlate with the data of the customer, and it can understand if it's something that looks like a normal behavior, if the identity was compromised, was not compromised, really do some heavy reasoning, understanding of the environment of this specific activity. And really trying to push the limits of how good it can be. Because at the end of the day, it's a lot about giving a model the best context. Because context is a different kind of game. You really have to understand how it operates, how the model understands some other, like if you put something at the beginning of the prompt, the difference in putting it in the back, and how big the context should be. And it's really a lot of things that weren't out there before. So really trying to put the best context, because I, as a security researcher, would done I don't know how many numbers. Forensics and investigations, know how to ask the right questions. So how to make the model based on the data ask the right questions to achieve the result of this is a true positive, this is a false positive. This is my assessment of the investigation. So you really try to evaluate it the right way, make it ask the right questions, and compare it against how I do it manually to see if it really holds up. And I think it could be a lot better than me. I make mistakes sometimes.
Yeah, and should security agent be autonomous, or should humans always make the final decision? Do you think that humans in the future have the same power to make the final decisions?
For me, instinctively, it's very, very scary to let
It's
to
the
let
same for me.
another.
It's the same.
Yeah, my approach is always when the decision matters, when the decision counts. I want a person, a human person behind the keyboard, in this case, approving the thing, whether it's to conclude the investigation in the investigation case, but also if you do I don't know, you want to kill a process, you want to isolate a workload, you want to do action in the environment, you really need to trust your agent and trust to imagine what is the worst thing it can do, and you have to live by that that the worst thing can happen, and you need to accept it. So I'm a human in the loop kind of approach.
Yeah, I really agree with that. And I separated here basically another side to talk about detection. You have spent a lot of time working with detection, and if you had to build a detection engine from scratch today, what signals would you prioritize?
I guess it depends on which environment and everything, but if you're
Cloud,
operating in the cloud,
identity, runtime, network, behavior.
yeah. Cloud is easily the easiest logs to digest. It's already pretty much available out of the box for every provider, and it really gives you the idea of what identities did in the environment, which really covers, a big part of the spectrum. But without understanding what is running, I think you can't have the full picture. Because some things that happen in the different layer of the cloud. So I can connect to the EC2 without leaving a log. I can run commands without leaving a log. I can extract data and send it to my C2 without leaving logs. So I guess it also depends on what resources you're using. If you're using a containered environment when you can't connect to the underlying infrastructure, cloud logs will cover more. If you use Kubernetes clusters where you can actually connect to the cluster on EC2, you have to have the runtime data, like the processes that are being run, what files are they accessing, where are they communicating. Syscalls, it's really, if you want to have the last percentage. And also you have to understand that you need to correlate all of these things to create a good engine, because one signal, it's in a really heavy and with heavy traffic of actions and players and users. It's really hard to separate between one thing that is malicious or not. And you have to correlate the data. You have to correlate what is the incoming API and what process was ran after it, and what did it access, and maybe the process made the resource use its cloud identity to make cloud actions. So you have like a full chain of network to process, to file, to cloud. You can add a code, like code logs, to see what software was uploaded. And I mean, code like GitHub attack surface is a different thing. That it's really, I mean, always strong, but something that you can't overlook. And also you have a lot of third-party integrations and things that are not specifically a resource in your environment, but has access to resources in your environment. And you can also overlook it, and someone can hijack it and be in your environment without actually running any process. So I think it depends on how your environment looks like, and being able to correlate it and understand how the flow is. That's why like a good threat hunter really understands the data that he's working on.
And do you think that AI actually improve detection, or is there still too much marketing around it?
I mean, I guess if it's done right, it can help. But I always fear overusing this kind of things without understanding how things work. Because sending a huge chunk of data to Claude and tell him, tell me if this is malicious or tell me something else, he's gonna eventually hallucinate, and he's not gonna understand the picture unless you give him the perfect context and train it and whatnot. So I think you need to have the balance of what you can solve with a good deterministic code or logic. What's something you can use data science, like to learn the behavior of specific data, and what you can use like a pre-trained AI LLM model to understand different kind of things. So I haven't done the comparison of the one specific task between the couple of them, but I think you can't leave one. I don't think we're gonna leave one behind and put all our efforts into one. You need to have the human. You need to have code verifying it. AI is amazing. It's gonna be even more, but you need to do it smart. You have to understand what you're doing.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm trying to put all in the same box. So I try to put it all together, and I try to create a merge right now with supply chain attacks that basically continue to evolve. And what patterns do you keep seeing nowadays?
Yeah. And we see so many
supply chain when you talk about supply chain attacks.
Yeah. So yeah, we talk about this like adversaries and malicious and malware and all these kind of words when you see supply chains keep showing up and keep hitting, I don't know, hundreds of thousands of users using a specific package, which is kind of annoying because it's so simple, but also so effective. I mean, you can see someone hijacking like a CI/CD of open source package, or get the credentials and upload straight to, I mean, NPM or Pipey. And then the users continue downloading the new version. And the new version has a new post-install script, a pre-install script. It's always like an additional script, which has in a few lines, download this payload, which downloads another payload. They have a couple of stages, and then it runs on the victim's personal computer or the CI/CD server or whatever in the cloud or whatever is using the package, and it basically steals everything sensitive it can find, and sometimes it's even tries to, if it finds like other tokens, it's gonna, for example, it's developing another package, so it's gonna upload the malicious script to their package. and then it's gonna recursively hit more people who are using this like the other package, which is basically so simple. I mean, someone told me about it that if you would just wait, 2 days before you download your package, someone would have already saw if it has the malicious script or not, because these things get discovered so quickly. People just keep downloading the new updates, and it's so annoying that it's one simple script and all your credentials are gone. But I guess if you and also what's interesting is, it can happen to every package. So even technologies and software that you thought you could trust, they get infected as well. But we at Upwind, we see it in runtime, because we see the package, we see what happens when the script runs. We see it trying to access like sensitive paths. We see it try to communicate. So we basically catch it the first second it runs. But it's one of those things that is gonna continue hitting us developers.
Yeah, that's interesting. And one interesting question for you right now: if you had to recommend three things every company should improve, what would they be nowadays? Three
Every
things.
company that is trying to secure itself.
Yeah, exactly. To improve, to try to avoid, for example, supply chain attacks.
In terms of supply.
I know that that's an open question, but my thinking right now here, I mean, that's basically is to understand your mindset. That's okay. It's more generic question, but it's to understand based on your experience, based on what you usually see every single day, and then usually three things that basically every company should improve uh, uh, inside there.
Yeah, it's a very open question. I think it's funny. I said it in a funny way, but I think the rule of two, it's a really strong rule that you need to wait 2 days before you download the new version. It's pretty silly, but it's true. I think that it's, if you wouldn't have the coverage to see what your package is doing in runtime, I think you wouldn't have any way of knowing you actually been exploited. So I think it's something pretty crucial if you want to secure yourself, to have your workloads protected. And I think even before that, you should take a look at what data lives on your resources. So companies can be very messy. People can work in production. People can move data between one resource and another. Even if attacker is able to infiltrate your resource, doesn't have to have this much data. That's where the term blast radius is for, because to see, once you've been exploited, how far can you get, what can you achieve. So controlling the data that is on your resources. Yeah.
Yep. That's it.
It's a difficult question.
Yes, I know.
Solving supply chain is not. It's very difficult.
Yes, I know that involve a lot of measures, techniques, and infrastructure, technology. I know that involves a lot of things. But let's talk about things that you probably like to talk about as well. That is rootkits and forensics. Rootkits are one of my favorite topics here. Um, and have you ever came across something that completely changed the way you look at stealth malware?
It was a long time since I was working with like low level malware. And I think the range of stealth and persistence and the ability to run code is something that is I mean, I don't know how it evolved in the last year or two, but I mean, of course, it depends on the research you're on. Like, I mean, if it's what type of server, what type of computer, what type of OS is you run on. And also the fact that you don't have to live on disk. I mean, living on disk is like the most straightforward way for a defender to scan all the files on disk and to see if something is differs from the golden image for this like a new file was added or a file that was modified. So I think the ability of rootkits to live entirely in memory without a process, being able to inject code to different addresses in the memory, whether it is benign software that you can trust. So the ability to have this deep hold in the operating system via kernel access or user mode access without having almost no trace and being able to send the network traffic and you're not going to see it anywhere because you bypass the network stack and you implemented it yourself, or you're hooking all the things that make you view telemetry from the machine. You have so many interesting techniques there. I guess you have more information about this than I do because you're all the time trying to find a new.
Yes, I love to try to bypass and use rootkits. I already, yes, right now it's really yes, I mean today it's really hard because a lot of businesses are using AI to detect behavior, to detect right now you have telemetry, ETW, you have a lot of things that you need to use to bypass, and it's not about how to just to create or build a malware or stuff like that to bypass uh, an XDR, AXDR, or whatever. It's think how the blue teams are thinking, and how it's not about how red teamers or how pen testers think nowadays. It's how blue teamers are thinking, how they are uh, preparing themselves to a new attack and stuff like that. And then nowadays it's each more harder to bypass. But I love to that's really awesome when I bypass some I mean, not only AXDR or ADR, or I like to think in all uh, all the paths that an attacker need to do to uh, to basically achieve this objective that is bypass the XDR inside the businesses, because right now you have the sandbox from the browser that you need to bypass. You have sometimes, if you are thinking on phishing, using phishing, using PDF files, you need to bypass the sandbox from PDF readers and stuff like that. When you thinking in bypass XDR, you need to think in presumed breach, and then that's more harder. But I yes, I love to do that. And I have another question for you uh, about detections, about forensics. That's interesting for me, because how different nowadays is cloud forensics from traditional on-premises investigations for you.
Mhm. So I think first of all, the way attackers behave or presumably behave can be different. I mean, first of all, I mean, on-prem environments are not always open to the internet. The cloud is by definition accessible via the internet. And we also been looking at how does the cloud perimeter looks like, because a lot of people have been able to show that even when the cloud says that you're inside the network and you're inside of a VPC, or you cannot access external resources or external endpoints, you can via different mechanisms of different services bypass the cloud perimeter and access different and access or exfiltrate data or receive commands. So even in the cloud, it's a lot of researchers have found that it's not always resilient, not resilient as the cloud says. And I mean, if you use only infrastructure that is not available to you, if it's something that you're not responsible for, you're not going to have the telemetry to investigate and look at it when you need to. That's why logging is super crucial to understand exactly every field in the log, to understand how it can help you when you need to understand what happened. And sometimes even, for example, databases in the cloud, sometimes things like login you can't see because it's happening behind the scenes, and you need to figure out a new way to export the data from inside, or to work versus a different mechanism. But it's a lot more looking at logs than looking at than the files, because you don't have access to it sometimes. Yeah, so I had a lot more log hunting experience since I moved to the cloud.
And another question, and do you think that, or I don't know if you felt the same in military scenarios, if you have the same behavior, because sometimes when you are working on in military environments, usually they have more access than private businesses. And do you think that this is change something?
I'm not sure I understood exactly
The question, okay.
Yep.
So usually, okay, my question, okay, my last question was the difference between forensics, cloud forensics, and traditional on-premise for investigations. Okay, so, and do you think that, for example, you explained me that we have a lot of problems when we try to investigate something that are on cloud for many reasons, of course. But do you think that the same difficulties you have when you are working on military side? Because, for example, do you already work at J6? And sometimes, for example, if you needed to investigate something at, for example, Azure or GCP, whatever, uh, do you have the same limitation, or you probably, okay, this is the fact that you are working on the military scenarios, this can be changed?
Um,
I don't know if you right now. Yeah, I know that that's a little bit sensitive because, for example, I know that in the countries, uh, the government have a lot of power for uh, private businesses, and sometimes they need to provide informations that usually private businesses don't have access, you know. And then when basically when you are doing some investigation in cloud environments, even if you are only looking for something in a SaaS mode, and if you need, for example, to have access to not only
um,
at logs from a database, but really to have access on the server to investigate more and more and more and go dive into, you know. I don't know if you understand the question, but this is one interesting that I uh, have my mind. For example, probably um, uh, all the people that, okay, all professionals, all cybersecurity professionals in many countries around the world and knows about Edward Snowden, that basically leaked informations about the NSA, CIA, whatever. And in this case was explicit that uh, the government can be present inside of private businesses. And thinking in J6, okay, if you cannot talk about, but
no,
okay,
I
thinking.
can just say that. I mean, of course, I mean, in J6, security is a very big deal. Something that
Mhm.
is really important to secure the networks. In terms of the cloud, we're also customers and clients of the cloud. So it has those limitations. But
Okay, so yeah, this is my question. Okay, so uh, so in this case, you have the same limitations. So that's okay. That's also my question. And then that's interesting because a lot of people thinking that, okay, guy work on JFix and probably he have access that common professionals don't have access. And then yeah, you know that sometimes people thinking, okay, he have access on probably on my files on my servers. If he needs to create or he needs to investigate something, you know. And then this is not my concern, but a lot of people think when, for example, Edward Snowden leaked informations about how they in the past could connect in a personal computer or in a server, just uh, as a magic click, you know. Okay, I can connect in your computer just in with a simple exploit or something that never be detected by your XDR or your network controls, you know. that can be usually people stays, create the biggie problem inside the mind, and then this is my question was based on that.
It's a
So
different story. I
yeah,
had a
yeah,
great service
yeah,
a couple of
yeah,
years ago, and
yeah, yeah, yes, I know,
I'm
yes, I
happy
know,
where I
but
am.
yes, I know, but yes, it's just to okay, my mind sometimes go ahead, and I try to and then my question was just because you already work at on J6, uh,
Mhm.
uh, but it's not was a joke.
Mhm.
and uh, one more questions about investigations. What evidence do you okay, so what evidence do investigators usually miss when they are some investigations usually, in your
What
opinion, they
what do they
ever
miss?
yeah
Um, First of all, you have to be able to ask the right questions, because otherwise you're gonna be lost in information, and these things can be very complex, and you have to be focused and do it as fast as possible, because time is relevant in this kind of scenarios. So you need to really be precise at where you want to go, because at the end of the day, you want to contain the investigation, the incident. You want to make sure it can the threat can longer operate. At the end of at the end, you want to also remediate, but first contain, like stop the bleeding. So you need to really be to be fast and accurate, and also know how you need. I think an investigator needs to know where they're operating. I mean, coming as a service without knowing the environment is okay. It can work, but I'm not sure it works as good as understanding the identities and the schemas and the baseline of how things work. And if this communication is legit, or is this the way this company works? Because it can really narrow down your questions, and be able to answer to solve the case. And also, if you really need to analyze evidence or artifacts, I think you really need to be focused on and specific on what you want to investigate, because I mean, reverse engineering is something that takes effort. It takes resources. It takes time. It takes knowledge.
yeah
And I say it as a last resort. I mean, if it's something that you don't have to do, you shouldn't just get files, get scripts, and start understanding what they're doing, because it's going to waste all your time. So you need, once you narrow it down to a specific artifact, then you need to understand what the artifact does.
okay, yeah, that's interesting. And I know that too, uh, that you are really younger, let's say, at at me. I am 32 years old, and then I'm considered a new guy, but uh, uh, a lot of we have a lot of audience that listen, that watching our podcast, and I receive a lot of message about career, and you have worked in military research, cloud security, product research, and now with AI. And my question for you right now is, if someone wants to become a security researcher today, where should they start? And
Um,
and what skills what skills do you think are going to matter to the most over the next 5 years?
mhm. That's a good question. And I really talk about it to a lot of people, some friends, some colleagues. I think that maybe you would know, I think for sure that a good place to be in cybersecurity is to find vulnerabilities and have your brand and have the proof that you found a vulnerability and you have a CV by your name. I think it's an accomplishment that, maybe it gets some of it less and less prestige because there are so many vulnerabilities, and some of them are found with AI, but still having vulnerabilities under your name, I think it's something. It's like really a plaque on the wall, like you have there. So I think if someone is able to, of course, within the scope of the bounty program and everything, manages to understand how the system works and find bugs and reports about them, I think it's something that really opens doors. And I think also having the basic knowledge of uh, networking, of
Yeah.
cloud architecture, of operating systems. I think AI is an enhancer, but I think you still, in order to use it to your advantage, in order to be productive, you need to understand how basic things work, how protocol works, how things communicate with each other. It depends on what kind of research you want to do, but I think network and cloud and operating systems are still things that are going to be exploited in the future. And also, when you talk about AI, still agents operate over a network, in the cloud, over an operating system. So I think it's something that is still and also working with AI, I think it's a skill that everyone is going to have to be good at in order to be productive and be better than other people. I think it's like now it's like a race of who is able to utilize AI the best, because it grows exponentially, and if you're lacking behind right now, then you're gonna have a harder time to be an expert in the future. So I think working with AI, working with the basics, attending conferences, talking to interesting people, creating projects, demonstrating things, breaking things. I think just being in a continuous like friction with the community within industry. I think it's a recipe. It's a recipe for a good career.
Yeah,
I think be
that's
passionate.
awesome.
I think you want to enjoy it also.
Yes, that's awesome. That's awesome, and I really appreciate your insights here. And let's go to the rapid fire, where I basically will give a question and you answer with you need to choose something. Okay. So cloud or on premises,
Cloud,
Linux or Windows,
Linux,
Python or Go,
Python, doing it fast.
Red team or blue team.
Blue team,
Great. Favorite security book?
security book.
Yeah.
I'm not much of a reader.
Oh, okay. Favorite conference?
Favorite conference? I haven't really attended much, but I think I really want to go to Black Hat or RSA
Oh,
next time.
so yeah. Okay. One researcher everyone should follow. You, of course.
Wow. Israel has some really good researchers. I think you should just type LinkedIn, whatever company, and see some great posts.
Okay. And one technology people are underestimating.
Underestimating?
Yeah.
Wow. Jesus.
Yeah, that's happy fire.
Underestimating?
Yeah, one technology
Um,
that people are underestimating.
I mean, it's not cybersecurity, but for me,
Yeah.
maps and Shazam, I think it's magic. I love maps and I like Shazam.
Okay, that's great. So that's really, guy. That's was been a fantastic conversation. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us and for sharing your experience and insights. And if people want to connect with you or follow your work, where is the best place to find you?
The best place is on LinkedIn. I'm also
Mhm.
working on a new site. We're going to post some blogs, so I'm going to
Mhm.
post it probably on LinkedIn. But LinkedIn is the way.
Okay. So don't forget to follow guys. Guy is on LinkedIn in description below. So make sure to connect with him and follow his work. And to everyone watching, thank you so much for listening. And if you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe, leave a like, and share it with someone who is passionate about cybersecurity. This was another episode of Hackers Behind the Code. And before wrap up, Guy, do you want to say something?
Yeah, for sure. Thank you for having me. I had a really good time. I think cybersecurity is a super interesting field. Every technology is a super interesting field, and it's just getting better and more exciting and more fast. And I think it's a great time to work in this industry. Uh, so let's continue doing great work.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you again. I really appreciate your time. And for all the people, I you see you in the next one of the R19 or the hackers behind the code. See you next time. Bye.
Bye bye.